If you happen to be one of the few people that ended up flying to Las Vegas to see Adele and now those shows are canceled, have no fear, she's found a replacement. The longest running and most awarded show in Vegas, called Legends in Concert, has come up with a brilliant idea, with Adele indefinitely postponing her Las Vegas residency at Caesars Palace, and Adele Lookalike has stepped in to fill the void. The Legends team is going to be rolling out a spin-off of sorts called Legendary Divas, which could be a bit of a jab at the reports of her diva-like behavior, but the important thing is that her fans will not be left empty-handed. The Legendary Divas production is going to be offering free tickets to any Adele fan that had paid to go see her for the Weekends with Adele. However, the show will not be taking place at Caesars Palace. They'll have to go over to the Tropicana Hotel and watch lookalike Janae Longo belting out all of the hits. From what's being reported, Janae doesn't just look like Adele, she also has an incredible singing voice to match. The show will also include tributes to Celine Dion, Lady Gaga, Cher, and is hosted by a Joan Rivers impersonator. Only in Vegas. If you've been following this story, then you'll know that Adele had to put a stop to her upcoming residency just hours before it was set to commence. In a tearful Instagram video, she claimed that the show had been plagued by COVID-related delays. She went on to stress that she and her team had tried absolutely everything they could to pull it together in time and for it to be good enough for you, but they had been absolutely destroyed by delivery delays and COVID. She went on to say that half of her team had been forced into isolation after getting COVID, which made it almost impossible to finish the show. Well, made it impossible to finish the show. However, sources from Caesars Palace claim that it had more to do with Adele being displeased with the level of production for the shows. Several sources told the press that they could not satisfy her level of production demands, and so that Adele felt that a number of things were just not good enough for her. Despite that, they figured that she would work around it, and were shocked to find out that Adele had canceled at the last minute. They confirmed that they had been working hard on every part of the show since December, but even with them pulling it together at the 11th hour, they were told that Adele was just not satisfied. Adele was supposed to stand in the middle of a pool for one of the performances, but she compared the final design to an old pond. The source goes on to say, when she saw the finished design, she refused to take part. Adele described the pool as a baggy old pond and refused point blank to stand in the middle of it. She also allegedly clashed with the venue over her 60-person choir and had arguments with her set designer Esmeralda Devlin. The source goes on to say, in spite of the set costing millions to put together, Adele was unhappy with the result, and she made her feelings very clear to Esmeralda. She was already nervous, and the falling out sent her spiraling into a panic because she was desperate that everything should be perfect. Now, this Legendary Divas show may not have all the big expensive set designs that Adele was planning on, but they do have one thing, an actual singer to perform. Plus, if you're a disappointed Adele fan, you can't really beat a free ticket to a new show. There's also now no chance that Adele will even be rescheduling after it was announced that country musician Keith Urban would be performing Weekends at Caesars Palace in late March and early April, which is right when Adele would have been performing. Given the amount of events that are scheduled after Keith though, this most likely means that Adele won't be back until 2023 at the earliest, which just prompted further online chatter that this show may never actually happen. Furthermore, sources in Las Vegas have claimed that her team was a total nightmare during the preparations for her now canceled 3-month residency. Adele apparently wanted to replace the state-of-the-art sound system at the venue with her own, and then demanded that they install an entirely new video system as well. The New York Post also claimed that Adele wasn't able to get through a single rehearsal in the month leading up because she was frequently shouting and sobbing on the phone to her boyfriend Rich Paul. They go on to say, just constantly on the phone with Rich, loudly shouting and sobbing. She has barely rehearsed because she is constantly in the middle of an emotional shootout, adding, there are rumblings that there are stresses related to Adele's relationship. I'm told that these stresses caused her to be in a place where she was just not confident moving forward. You can't focus if you're not where you need to be in your head. I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of this though, and while you do that, I'm going to check out some of your comments from the video entitled Kim Kardashian fires back at Kanye West over constant attacks. Celine Rodriguez says, doesn't he have a lawyer? He needs to obtain advice with his lawyers, not people on the internet. He will only make it worse on himself by bringing everything to the internet. Couldn't have said it better myself. The internet is not the place to look for your advice, especially legal advice. It's Just Kenny says, this beef is so dumb, all it does is mess up the kids. This sounds just like a PR stunt at this point. Sadly, it does sound like a PR stunt for Balenciaga or something. Balenciaga? I don't care. Tracy Frederick says, Kanye doesn't know how to co-parent. He's a man-child having a temper tantrum. Well, let's hope he comes around, because those kids need him. Cassie420 Blaze says, they really are going in on each other, aren't they? Yeah, it's starting to turn into a Britney versus Jamie Lynn type feud with just back and forth on social media. It's getting exhausting. Tara says Kanye is acting a fool about TikTok but doesn't care about her being around a camera crew all day for the Hulu show. Valid point. That's all the time we have for today though, so stay classy and I'll see you on the next one.